Ready Check Radio.
Stand by as we get ready to serve up all your news this week in the world of gaming. Welcome to Gaming Gumbo. What's up, Internet? It's Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for Gaming Gumbo, our weekly gaming wrap-up. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got a lot to talk about today. I'm your host, as always, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man, and this is episode 142. And we've got, I mean, maybe we'll talk about some Ashes of Creation. I don't know. That seems to be some big news going on right now, particularly for us MMO junkies, and maybe we'll talk about some other stuff. But yeah, if you're joining us via YouTube or Audible or any of the podcast platforms, thank you so much. While you're there, give it a like, a subscribe, all the good stuff that feeds the algorithm. But of course, head on over to ReadyCheckRadio.com, check out all the socials and the backlog of episodes, and join us live on Twitch, like Chad is doing right now, ready to chime in as we begin the show with Mr. Dom Greco. What's up, my friend?
How's it going?
You got a pretty snazzy, bright background there for a game you've never played.
Yeah, I know. I felt it was kind of ironic.
It's the irony is not lost on longtime viewers, I'm sure. I'm sure. For those on the audio version, it is the Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope promo shot.
Yep.
A game that will never be opened.
Nope.
Also on the line, the bane of my damn existence, because now I'm 3D printing the world. It's Mr. Troy Blackburn, a.k.a. Noob Fridge. What's up, sir?
Mine is running right now, printing some stuff for some folks at work that they wanted for Valentine's Day. So, yeah. Welcome to the 3D printing world, sir.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest thing you've printed so far, Troy?
An axolotl keychain, I guess, would probably be the weirdest thing. Somebody asked for an axolotl, and I was like, do you want a keychain? They're like, yeah. I'm like, I could do that.
Fantastic.
My favorite part of my stuff so far was when I posted in Ready Check Radio's Discord a picture of a Stormtrooper helmet, and I was like, damn you, Troy. I hate that you got me into this finally. And Troy goes, you're not really a 3D printer until you print a wearable one. And I said, that one is wearable. And if you had looked a little longer, you of all people would have known, because it was sitting on boxes of filament. So you know how wide a box of filament is, and if you would have seen it sitting across,
I noticed that afterwards, and I was like, okay, yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah, you're like, that's like 3.5-4 boxes of filament wide. That is absolutely wearable. Yeah, the only thing I didn't do was put in like a welder's lens to black out the eyes, but still let you see through it yet. But that's the only piece yeah. And now I'm thinking of buying a much more expensive one.
Yeah, you messaged me the other day, like, I think I need the H2C. Oh, Lord have mercy.
A $2,500 3D printer. And that's if
get a resin one too while you're at it.
No, so I can't do resin in my house right now. I would have to get a shed or something to do it in, just to properly ventilate that, so you didn't find me dead on the floor in front of the damn thing. So,
fair.
Yeah, a little work to do on that front. But yeah, and then Havoc, I should mention Noob Fridge for you. Havoc took a 2-hour drive to Micro Center with me a couple of weeks ago and ended up coming home with a P1S as well. So my brother... Yeah,
all the stuff you can find to print that's just pointless. You're just like, I gotta have it now.
Yeah. I printed
now I need a door stop for every single door in my house.
I printed a deck box for Final Fantasy trading card game decks that is a box of Marlboros. I printed one for Torchwick, my son's decks, because I'm always teasing him about how he makes garbage decks. So I printed him a deck box that was a dumpster. It's just, yeah. This morning I printed one for him that's going to be a surprise for a tournament that he's coming up this week. Just by the way, programming note, remember there is no relic grind this Thursday. as we're heading into the Winter Cup here in Pittsburgh for Final Fantasy, the trading card game this weekend. So I have some prep work to help do there. I will not be commentating it. Some friends of mine will. I'll be judging it. So we expect about like 150-ish people for a off-season event as we get ready for the regular season. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about the house fire that is Ashes of Creation right now. So just to kind of catch you up a little bit here, because this is a very slow burn on this one. Ashes of Creation was a MMORPG that originally was crowdfunded back in like 2017, earned a few $1 million to try and create this kind of like older school MMORPG. Stephen Sharif and the company Intrepid Studios were behind it. And it's one of those long-time Kickstarter-backed projects that has its fair share of people that are gung-ho and just they're all about the Ashes of Creation life, and then conversely on the other side, just the absolute detractors from the very beginning, with the cries of this is a scam. Now the truth, of course, probably a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, depending on what particular topic you're going after. And there is an awful lot of small minutia in the 8-year gap there from 2017 to now, whether it be the history of Stephen's business dealings in the past that some people found unsavory, some things he said or done in the past. We are not going to be covering any of that stuff. If you want to dive into complete histories of that, there are plenty of YouTube content creators that can do that for you. But I would recommend Kira TV on this one. There's a long history of covering Ashes of Creation and Stephen himself, and a lot of information there. And, somebody that's very gung-ho about it really doesn't like a lot of Kira's content, but I always found it to be even covering negative aspects of the business or speculation with his own personal opinions. Whether or not I agreed with a particular opinion he had, it was based on logic and behind-the-scenes information. It wasn't just pure conjecture on his side. So it is a nice place to catch up if you want to get that. But we're going to talk about what happened over the course of the last 5 days where, there's probably not an MMO anymore. And there isn't an Intrepid Studios almost anymore. It's still officially a thing, I guess, but it doesn't matter. And Troy, we talked about this game launching on Steam back in December, kind of out of nowhere. It just all of a sudden, we're going to launch on Steam, and it was on Steam. And we've covered this game in the past over at our times at mmobomb.com because at one point they spun up what was it? Ashes of Creation Apocalypse, I think was the subtitle of it. Was a battle royale that people were like, what the hell? And it didn't last long. It appears on Steam. It doesn't do particularly well on Steam review-wise because it's not quite ready. It does sell a fair amount of copies, but in the last week, things just seem to burn down.
Yeah, and the Steam launch was always weird from the beginning because at no point had they talked about, hey, we're going to launch on Steam, especially as early as they did and unprepared as the game was. The game was in a completely unfinished state. It was not ready for that sort of audience to jump in. Steam, even in early access, that's the kind of audience that is looking for and reviewing you based on a finished game. And quite frankly, as they should, when you launch and you take money for launches and you have cash shops and all that sort of thing incorporated in your game, you should be judged as if you're a launched game for 90% of what you would judge a game for. Yes, you've got that early access moniker you can hide behind, but at the end of the day, if you're accepting money, we've talked about this a million times, I won't beat it to death, but if you're accepting money for a game, you're a launched game. The launch on Steam, however, was completely out of left field, completely unexpected by anyone. And now looking back, hindsight being 2020, it does appear that it was just to get out of having to issue refunds when the game completely disappears.
Yeah, I mean, that part obviously speculation on your part. We don't know anything for sure on that aspect yet. In fact, there's quite a bit about this, Dom, that we just don't know yet. And I feel like this is going to be one that's unfolding over the course of the next month or so. So let me take you, because Troy, one of the things you brought up was nobody expected it to be on Steam. And as it turns out, that includes the staff. Yeah, that includes the staff. So while Stephen Sharif did not specifically say anything about some of the things happening, he did post this statement, and this was kind of like the impetus for public knowledge. Again, there are others like Kira TV who have many contacts behind the scenes that kind of saw the writing on the wall or had some indication that something similar to this was going to happen. Check their content out. But as far as generally public available information, the first bit of news came from one of Steven's Discord posts, and I'm going to read it to you, Dom, and then we'll get your take on it. I can make a limited statement in my personal capacity and not on behalf of the company regarding the situation. Control of the company shifted away from me, and the board began directing actions that I could not ethically agree with or carry out. As a result, I chose to resign in protest rather than lend my name or authority to decisions I could not ethically support. Following my resignation, much of the senior leadership team resigned. Following those departures, the board made the decision to issue WARN, W-A-R-N, Act notices and proceed with a mass layoff. I cannot responsibly speak to further details at this time due to ongoing legal and governance matters. What I can say is that the developers and staff acted in good faith and deserved better than the uncertainty they are now facing. I am incredibly dismayed by the situation. And it burned down from there. Just social post, Dom, after social post after social post from previous employees who apparently are now not getting paid their last pays, their severances, anything that was promised to them. What happens with Ashes of Creation as far as the community goes is still an unknown. Do they try to ship it overseas and give it to a cheaper development team and do something with it? This board, there are questions about who this board even is from players, because there were a lot of players who just believed that this was Steven's thing and that there was no board. There's accusations, good and bad, flying all over the place. But at the end of the day, the staff did not deserve any of this. Any of this. He sits and silently nods.
Oh, I didn't hear you directed to me. You were just talking. You didn't say Dom. I can't see what the camera's on. Yeah, no, but this is just it's coming from I work with game design in a company setting, so like I understand how difficult it is, right, to even begin creating a game in the first place, right? And when you get too many hands in the cookie jar and everybody wants to start taking the game into a different direction, and how quickly things can spiral out of control, it's kind of surreal when you're in that environment. So I can't even begin to imagine what that's like on a large scale MMO basis, right? An MMO is already just like overwhelmingly complex to begin with, right? You look at this, they raised what, 3.5 million, almost 3.5 million for their Kickstarter campaign.
And that was just the Kickstarter back in 2017. Right. Yeah. Right.
So I think I was reading the rest of their budget was like 30 million that they went. So it's like that barely dented it. But then you look at like the original World of Warcraft, right? And they had a small team. Don't get me wrong. Like you think, oh, Blizzard, whatever, but they had like a 50, 60 person team to do the original World of Warcraft. That was rather small comparatively for like what it is for an MMO. And I think they went in with a $63 million budget, if I'm not mistaken. That took 3 to 4 years, maybe more, for them to develop. And they cut corners by like repeating art assets. And I'm sure you guys, that played Vanilla WoW are very used to the 3 housing layouts that they had and the 1 cave layout, and it was everything. And they just did that to create the world as fast as possible. To create an MMO these days where it's like such a crazy system, because you have games like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy and stuff like that in these MMO settings that are massive. And the only way to really compete with them is to try to get close to their scale. Like you can't. But that's the thing. And that's why a lot of these things are doomed to fail. So MMOs just in general is already really difficult market to crack into. I wouldn't I'm not faulting them. I'm not saying they didn't do anything right or whatever, but I'm saying this game market in general, not an easy one to break into. So that's already their first thing going in down. And then whatever happened with this management here, whether we can believe some of this stuff, the board, all this, I don't know. But it's just, that to me is just crazy. It's just, I read this and I'm just like, nobody seems to know what this board is,
Yep. And Steam's kind of stuck in the middle here. Now, I've seen reports that on Reddit of people saying that Steam is aware of the situation and investigating, as far as that is the reply they're giving out to customers who are seeking refunds. Obviously, this is a situation where you probably don't want to check the refund box. You want to try to get in touch with somebody, because the refund box automated process ain't going to do it for you. What happens to the game here? What happens to the Kickstarter backers who backed certain things? There's a stream set for the 13th. I don't know who the hell's going to host that now. Everybody's apparently, pretty much gone at this point. So there was supposed to be a developer diary live stream thing on February 13th on that. And there is on February 3rd, earlier today, a post appeared in the Discord from a Karen Boreyeko. Again, IGN could not verify who this person was. They don't have the developer's flags or anything on the Discord as far as their particular account goes, but that's not to say that they aren't. They just maybe weren't marked as such. They have not been able to validate this, but they came and posted today, early this morning. Hello, everyone. My name is Karen L. Boreyeko, and I wanted to take a moment to speak directly to this community as we begin a new chapter for Ashes of Creation. I feel like, Troy, this probably should have come out before the layoffs that took all the employees by surprise.
Yeah, you think so?
Intrepid Studios is moving forward with a renewed long-term vision for the game. Okay, cool. What is that vision? Including continued development in China. So my previous statement of overseas cheaper development. And a transition to a subscription-based model supported by optional daily battle passes, a new in-game gold shop, and expanded skill point progression systems. Our goal is to ensure the project's sustainability while accelerating development and delivering a live service experience that can grow for years to come. We know change brings questions, and we're committed to open communications as we move ahead together. Again, nothing about who the leadership teams are now, what they're doing, what that does for the short term as far as updates goes, taking care of the employees that you just laid off via email, then certified letter that kind of conflicted with each other as far as what they were saying, not getting people paid on time. In some respects, maybe what you've done with the layoffs wasn't exactly legal in some of the areas you did it. There is a lot of moving parts around this one, Troy. A lot of moving parts. And I think we're just finding out the beginning of this. I think it's going to go on for the next month or two.
Yeah, I think absolutely there's going to be more stuff, because there were changes just between Thursday and Friday, right? They were just going to lay off a few folks Thursday, and then Friday the whole staff was gone, and there was some speculation they were going to take it overseas, and then it seemed like it was dead. And now this morning there's this post that can't be verified at the moment, saying they're going to take it overseas again. So yeah, I don't think the drama is done here by any stretch of the imagination. I still think there's a lot of information that's going to come out. I still think there's a lot of movement that's going to happen within the game officially. I think there's still some things that are going to be said and done unofficially that we're going to find out behind the scenes. And one of the things to me personally that makes me the maddest right now is the fact that early on in the development process, we don't have a board to answer to.
Yeah.
We're controlling this. This is our baby. But then when the failure comes, the board is shutting us down. The board is doing what board? Where did this board come from? You didn't mention a board. You said there was no board. That's one of the things that makes me the maddest, is there's no responsibility. It's all being blamed on this innocuous board, whoever those people may be.
Yeah, and to speak to what you just said about timeline, Margaret Crone put up a tweet today. And now keep in mind, this is coming from somebody that's involved in marketing, communications, social media, that type of stuff. So we're not talking C-level executive leadership here. This Margaret's not going to be able to like confirm that there was an exodus of leadership after Stephen Sharif left. But Margaret does put out that on January 28th, towards the end of the workday, Margaret was informed, that we would be laying off 100 developers. Team was estimated, I think, at this time to be a little over 200 plus people, somewhere in that neighborhood. So this would be like a 40-50% layoff. I was devastated. These are hardworking people who were going to lose their jobs. Still, I believed it was something we could face together and find a path forward from. The next day, on January 29th, I shared this information confidentially with my game services team. I told them that changes were coming, that I did not yet know who would be affected, and that I wished I had more certainty to offer. I could not live with myself if I did not give them advance notice. These are people who deserve to be treated like human beings. By the end of that day, I received confirmation of which people on my team would be impacted. So, Dom, here's a list. Margaret has a list. These are the people impacted. 28th, 29th. Now we hit the 30th. Margaret says, I spoke individually with each of my team members to let them know whether they were affected so they could begin planning and preparing. Those who were staying began working on ways to move forward. Even those who knew they would be leaving offered their support, showing the grace, professionalism, and strength that defined our game services team. On January 31st, we were all informed via a confusing email that we would be laid off, along with a warn notice. It is still shocking. The entire studio gathered to try to understand what had happened and what it meant for our future. In the end, none of us are receiving our final paychecks, the 60 days notice and pay outlined under the WARN Act, PTO payouts, or any other compensation owed. What matters most to me now are the people, both the players and the developers, and then goes on to not only thank the players and express, sympathies for colleagues, but also set up a Google Doc for any companies looking to hire. Can you, fill this out? And I will make sure that these get to people I know have that skill set. So an absolute nightmare over there, Dom. Just like craziness.
Yeah. It's wild. This should never happen. And yeah, like Troy said, it seems like any game that's on Kickstarter is just doomed to fail. And it's just like,
I mean, there's going to be court drama over this. Yeah. I think if you backed it on Kickstarter, you're done. Like I don't think you're getting a refund, particularly if Troy, they're trying to take the game overseas to continue development in China and give it a subscription model. Like okay, best of luck to you, brother. And if you really, really like Ashes of Creation, I hope this works out for you. I just do not see a way in hell that this works out. And whether you like Stephen Sharif or not, he was such a big part of this game, Troy, that I don't know if it's even remotely the same game without him involved in some capacity. And right now, there looks like a bunch of speculation back and forth that I just don't see a way that happens.
Yeah, I mean, everything up to this point has been him being the face of the company, him being the face of the game. Everything appeared to be his vision, his dream. This is what I want. This is, my aspects of arcades that I like. This is my aspect of other MMOs that I wanted to bring into Ashes. It's all been about him and sort of the vision going forward for the development of the game. So without him, it kind of seems like it's going to be a soulless crank out of an MMO, just like all these other overseas Asian imports that we get. And unfortunately, there's going to be people who fall into the sunk cost fallacy, man. They've already got so much money into it. They're going to keep on putting some money into it until it's finally just dead. Please don't do that. This game is dead. This game is not going to make a big comeback. I don't care if it goes to China and gets developed. It's not going to come over here and be successful. They never are. They never will be. Just let it go. It's painful. I just had to let New World go. I understand completely how you're feeling right now, except I don't have as much money in New World as some of you have in Ashes of Creation. I get that, but just let it go. Let it go.
one of
MMOs are in such a weird spot because it's like they're made for people that have a lot of time. The problem is most gamers are people that grew up with gaming, and guess what? We don't have time to play games anymore. MMOs are just in this weird spot where it's very difficult, to just get people involved in the first place.
Yeah, that's a great point, because one of our favorite creators, Troy, Mr. Josh Strife Hayes, obviously posted a video. Not on this topic. It wasn't on. It was the Ashes of Creation was the impetus for the video, but the video itself really doesn't go into too much of the details of what's going on. It's more an exploration of examining why people flock to the next best thing like this, what they're really looking for, why you continue to put money into Kickstarter and MMOs. And he does talk about what you just mentioned there, Dom, where it's an aging player base that doesn't have a lot of new coming into it, fairly stable, but as far as the global player count, but we're all spread out across so many more games now than we were back in the day, and that's talks about why people don't leave WoW or Final Fantasy 14 or Guild Wars 2 or some of the bigger dogs, why the bigger dogs of 10 years ago are still the bigger dogs today, and starts talking more about the community is what you're looking for. It's not the game. And then once you get into these communities for something that's upcoming and you become somebody in that community, it's really hard, Troy, to want to give it up and walk away from it, no matter what the situation may be. It's definitely one we'll be watching on this show for the next few months, I'm sure, because there's a lot of accusations and slander and maybe some facts going around right now that I want to see how it all plays out. I want to see how... I never like seeing an MMO fail. I like seeing MMOs succeed, even if I don't personally like that particular MMO or wouldn't play it. Just to kind of tack on to what you were talking about there, Dom, where, hey, the more the merrier as far as I'm concerned. I don't have to play every single one. But this is kind of catastrophic. Obviously, our condolences and sympathies to everybody impacted over at Intrepid Studios. And if you are looking for people, check out Margaret's Twitter and fill out that application or that little short Google form. And I'm sure there's some good candidates that are literally just waiting for you. Unfortunately, the entire industry is full of great candidates looking for jobs right now. So, in better news, in the world of gaming, Crimson Desert, the RPG from the makers of from Pearl Abyss, the makers of Black Desert Online, has gone gold, baby. Gone gold. They are done. They are done. And now it is just a polish and complete and bug test and all that finishing stuff as the game marches ever forward to its March 19th release day. And I'll tell you what, this is one, Troy, you and I got really advance notice on this one through Pearl Abyss way back when they weren't saying what the hell it even was. And we're like,
yeah, there was,
you want us to report
I
on it.
remember thinking, was this another MMO?
Right.
Like, what is this?
Yeah. You want us to report on it, but we only cover MMOs. Can you at least tell us, is it an MMO like Black Desert? And they're like, yeah, we can't answer that yet. And I'm like, well, then I can't cover it yet, bro. Like, what do you want me to do? And right now, they released like a 15-minute video of stuff and of gameplay and things like that. Looks fantastic. I've always loved the look of this. It's very Elder Scrolls-y, high fantasy, and in a world where I don't know if I'll ever see the Elder Scrolls 6 and if it'll be worth a damn when it actually gets here. I kind of just want this to fucking be good, Dom. Could I just have one game come out recently and like not pull a Bloodlines 2 where I'm so excited about it, then when I see it, I'm like, yeah, I'm not even buying it.
We warned you about that forever. You just didn't listen to us.
It was the hopium. Settle down. Settle down.
It happens. It happens.
I don't know. Like, this game looks beautiful, but once again, there's mech suits and stuff in here. It's not for me.
What?
No. You didn't see the mech suit flying around?
I did. It's amazing. Shut up.
Yeah, I don't want that in my fantasy world. Get it out of here.
Pearl Abyss actually built a whole new engine for Crimson Desert, and in an interview they explained that it's capable of providing a 4K 60 native presentation, complete with ray tracing, without the aid of graphics technology such as DLSS or FSR. But of course, that does come with the fact that you're going to need a beefed up PC to run it. Quote, yeah, we'll show 4K 60 native, sure, with ray tracing on. That's not done through DLSS or FSR. That's done natively in engine. And then if you want to further optimize, then you can tweak all the settings and do all the things. But we want to show you that you don't have to. Like, the game itself should be able to stand on its own. Talking about the engine, Power said, I'm not going to say that the game is absolutely perfectly optimized, but within the engine, it's using every single thing. So it's as optimized as it can be within that space. That's not possible otherwise. And so rendering thousands of trees within draw distance, it does those things better than an off-the-shelf engine could because of that. Open world, RPG, looking good. You got me, Troy. You got me.
Hook, line, and sinker. Of course, the only thing that I really have to judge this on is, Black Desert. I'm not saying that it's going to play like an MMO, but
Right.
as far as the game, the Black Desert looks good. The combat's good in Black Desert. It's grindy as hell, but if they're going to take a single player RPG like this and not do it MMO style like Dragon Age Inquisition, it could be very interesting. I'm definitely gonna be keeping an eye on it. I'm interested in playing it. Like I said, the only other game that I'm familiar with of theirs, which is Black Desert, looks good. Combat's fun. It just doesn't have the gameplay loop for me. So if this one has a fun core gameplay loop, then I could be in as well.
Well, so you had talked about Samus riding around on a motorcycle in the desert, and you were like, "That's cool," but if there's nothing to do in that area, then who cares? And Metroid Prime 4 in that open desert area, Soul Valley, very much was that there was very little to do. It was like, traversal for traversal's sake. So what's that look like in Crimson Desert? Well, according to the interview, I don't think numbers really do it justice. How big is that in terms of scope and scale? But what I can say is that the world's at least twice as big as the open world, the playable area of Skyrim. It's larger than the map of Red Dead Redemption 2. The continent of Pywell is absolutely massive, but size doesn't really matter if there's nothing to do. Open world games are about doing things, having activities, having distractions. So we wanted to create a world that's not only massive, but is also incredibly interactive. It's like he was talking to you, Troy.
Yeah, I know, right? That's one of the things I liked about Avowed was it's a smaller game world, but there's all these little things to explore and do within the world that they did create, and that's one of the things I really enjoyed about that game.
So I'm in, as long as it doesn't look like ass when I actually see gameplay of it after launch. Dom, you're totally out.
Those mech suits out and I'm in.
Are you serious? One fucking mech suit?
One mech suit, get it? I already don't like the whole goblins and WoW. Get them out of here too.
Oh my god.
And then Troy, you're a maybe.
I'm a probably.
You're a probably. Okay.
Probably.
All right. I'll do my usual thing on this one, I think, and I'll watch reviews. Again, I don't really watch reviews for the score because I really don't care. Like, you could score it a 10, but if I know it's a game I'm not going to be into, your 10 doesn't mean a thing to me. But, like, that's what saved me money on Bloodlines 2, right? I didn't care if somebody was going to score it a 4 or score it a 10. When I saw the gameplay from multiple people, I was like, this is not what I wanted.
You just knew.
Yeah, so I'm going to do the same thing here. This is not an instant day one for me, but it's a probable day one for me. Please be good. Just, fuck, I could use a good single-player RPG right now.
Yep.
Hey, before we slide over to just some miscellaneous news bits and call it a day, Dom, did you saw the Sony controller with no buttons that got patented? What the no buttons at all?
I don't want that. I want physical buttons. I want physical buttons. Like how do you have the muscle memory, right? Like I I like to feel where my button is to know my fingers on it. You know, if I'm hitting a button and without looking at the controller and my character is not responding, then I'm going to look down and be like, oh, well, my thumb was to the left somewhere. It wasn't even on the button. Like, how am I supposed to know just by touching it? I'm already aggravated. I might not even buy a PS6. I'm getting old. I'm getting cranky. I don't want any of this stuff.
Well, okay, so there's a couple of things we got to sprinkle a little salt on this one first. So, one, just because Sony patents something doesn't mean they're going to use it. Like, first and foremost, just because Sony gets a patent doesn't mean they're actually going to do anything with it. Two, we don't know if this is something for like the PS6 or something maybe they're looking to expand a little sooner than that. But remember, the PS6 is rumored to be delayed until like 2030 at this point because of high RAM prices. So who knows what's going to happen with the launch of the PS6. And now, obviously, yes, there is a play here for accessibility, right? Using capacitive touch instead of, physical pressing of buttons. Absolutely. I get that. So, I have no problem with this type of product for accessibility reasons. And if that's the only reason you want it for, great, go for it. Get it. If it helps, great. I don't know about you, though, but the touch screen on my phones and tablets doesn't tend to be the most accurate of devices. And this really just, Troy, kind of looks right now like, yeah, you created a glossy touch screen with the buttons underneath of it. I understand that I don't have to put pressure on it. And then the whole thing with PlayStation 5 was like the haptic feedback, which was like the more pressure, the better. Like, it just seems there's just a lot going on this one.
Yeah, I use my Xbox 360 controller on my tablet when I'm playing games on my tablet. So I don't even use the screen controls on the tablet. I hook up my Xbox 360 controller. That way I've got that physical touch going on because it's a lot more accurate.
I will say the only positive, very unlikely that this controller would have Joy-Con drift.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of like controlling your PlayStation with playing a game and just like with motion, the movement of your thumbs, it is kind of neat in theory, and maybe you could do some different things with it. I would be shocked if this was like the in-box PlayStation 6 controller. I would just be stunned. To me, it is a separate accessory. Yeah, I can't imagine like this being your controller in the box of a PlayStation 6.
Oh, they put this in the box, then they sell you an analog controller.
Oh, see,
for like another $100.
Son of a bitch, I'm in.
They got you.
Well, I mean, they'd have to at that point, right? Like, it'd be like, oh, that's what's in the box. No, I'm gonna buy one, bro. And all of a sudden, my $800 PlayStation 6 just became a $900 PlayStation 6.
Yeah, I mean, you instantly add at least $150 to every purchase, if not like $300, because most people's gonna want a couple of controllers. Like, yeah, that's how you get the price up. That's how you offset those costs for those consoles.
You can tell Troy now runs a 3D printing business. I did end up following your Facebook page, by the way. I totally forgot about it after we talked about it. Like, he sent me this link that was like, Troy would like you to follow, and it was like TB3D, and I'm like, is this some porn site? What the hell is he doing? This is a lot of acronyms. And then I asked you about it on the show, and you told me, oh, it was your like 3D printing business. And then like, I think it was just last week, I was like, oh shit, yeah, well, I was on Facebook. Let me scroll back, see if I can find that. Yeah, all right, I'll give him a follow. And then look at you selling shit on Etsy, making 3D printing money, you crazy bastard.
Do what I can, get a little extra cash, and trying to save up to get a second printer.
Which one you looking at? No, okay, we got miscellaneous news to cover. We can talk about that offline. 3D printing podcast coming up soon.
Right.
Some miscellaneous bits before we call it a day here. Okay, I just kind of thought this one was funny. The Grammys just happened, right? And a Super Mario remix that Nintendo had nothing to do with won in Best Arrangement, beating out Wicked's Cynthia Erivo. Love it. Love it. 8-Bit Big Band took home the Grammy Award for Best Arrangement, Instrumental, or A Cappella for Super Mario Praise Break. And that, if you haven't listened to it, it's great. Go check it out. It contains, obviously can't play it here. It contains music from Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers World, Super Mario 64, and Super Mario Galaxy. And that is actually the team's second Grammy. They said, thank you to everyone who listened and supported to all of our new releases, and huge congrats to my co-rangers on the now Grammy-winning Super Mario Praise Break. Did you give this a listen when you saw it in the show notes, Dom? Did you go give it a...
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. A wide array of instruments, wide array of Mario songs. They all blend together really well. It was top tier, top tier. They deserve it.
They give Grammy Awards not specifically for game music, but game music can be nominated for various things. Yes. Yes. And Nintendo has nothing to do with it, Troy. Because it's not their arrangement.
I mean, nothing to do with this is a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Well, they have no official capacity to claim a Grammy win. How about this for a shock? I'm honestly stunned by this. We talked on the last show about Ubisoft's house fire. I feel like the last 3 shows have led off with just massive house fires now that I think about it.
Like the regular news.
Yeah. Oh, God, man.
Oh, right.
And my heart breaks for Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake being canceled, as well as like 5 other projects over at Ubisoft, which they have not confirmed yet. And I mean, I was totally convinced, like I think a lot of people were, that Beyond Good and Evil 2, the game that exists but has never existed, was probably one of those to suffer the axe there. However, that doesn't seem to be the case. Fozzie Mesmar over at DICE posted, thank you for everyone who has reached out to me over the past few days in regards to the recent news at Ubisoft. Myself, my team, and our project Beyond Good and Evil 2 are unaffected by the recent changes. I would direct you to the official press release for more information about the latest organizational structure. So they seem to still have their own creative house, and we still might get Beyond Good and Evil 2, which I am very happy about. Kind of shocked, though, Dom. Like, I honestly expected this to be fully one of the ones that was just axed out.
You would think. I don't know. Never say never with Ubisoft. I have no idea what's going on over there. It's just it's a mess.
They don't either. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I know. That's the hard part. It's so hard to like predict. At least like Nintendo, where you're like, oh, Nintendo, like they just all of a sudden decide, hey, here's a game, and then we're gonna drop it. You know, like I think they did that with like one of the Mario, the brothers, whatever, Tale of Two Brothers, or something. Like they just dropped it. They announced it, and then it came out like a couple weeks later. Or no, what was it? The Paper Mario on the Switch or something like that. I forget. It was just like announced, and then boom, it's out. You would think you could see some of that stuff coming. Like Nintendo, you have a little bit of an easier time like reading than Ubisoft right now. Ubisoft, I have no idea what is going on. And like you said, they don't either. It's crazy.
Troy, since you weren't on last week's show, I do want to get your opinion on something about the Ubisoft stuff. Do you think the company survives? Like this whole massive restructuring into these smaller creative houses, axing a bunch of these projects, and this all comes after Tencent had given them that induction of capital and that they split off some other portions of their business. Like 5 years from now, is Ubisoft still a thing, or have their IPs been sold off to the highest bidders?
I think it'll be kind of like THQ, where somebody thinks the name's still worth something, so the name still exists, but the entity as it exists right now will be no more. I think they'll sell off their IPs and their names and everything, and somebody will
like
run something
Atari.
under the Ubisoft name. Yeah. I'm surprised they've lasted as long as they have, honestly. Over the last few years we've been covering them, I'm surprised they've lasted this long.
Yeah, I mean, that's one that's just like implosion on all levels, right? The accusations against leadership, the Me Too stuff within the company's history, and the financial stuff, like just from top to bottom. It's just like is there anything this company does well at the moment as far as high-level leadership goes? Because I don't see it, whatever it is.
No, there's nothing they do well, period, right now.
Hey, Dispatch.
Have a lot of franchises that are popular, right? Like
that's the killer thing, right? Like, look at the
Right.
names of the IPs that they have.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They have like these top tier IPs, but they're just it's a mess. I don't know.
Dispatch came out for the old Switch Rooney there, and if you don't know, it's like a superhero kind of comic booky game. Check it out. But anyway, apparently there is some nudity in that game, some frontal nudity, people giving somebody the finger, stuff like that, and apparently on the Nintendo Switch platform, it's censored by just putting a black box over it. Now, the game can be censored on other platforms. Like you can turn on, like a filter to filter all this stuff out if you might be sensitive to seeing a nipple. But on the Switch, it's on by default, and you can't turn it off. So, like in cutscenes, you just see like a big black box follow somebody's chest around or something like that. And so, Ad Hoc Studios, the company behind Dispatch, made a statement saying, hey, different platforms just have different content criteria, and we've worked with Nintendo to adapt certain elements so Dispatch could be on their platform. So that kind of was like, oh, well, what did Nintendo make you do? Or what did you have to do to meet their needs? Well, Nintendo released a statement that then said, Nintendo requires all games on its platform to receive ratings from independent organizations. Okay, that has nothing to do with Nintendo proper or Ad Hoc. Go get it rated by the ESRB, right? And to meet our established content and platform guidelines. While we inform partners when their titles don't meet our guidelines, Nintendo does not make changes to partner content. We also do not discuss specific content or the criteria used in making these determinations. So, yes, Nintendo does have some requirements to be on the Switch and will kind of throw up a flag when it says there's something amiss here. But they don't change the game itself. It's up to the developer to change the game in a way they deem proper to meet those standards. And I mean, this is like a goofy superhero comedy game, but just really fucking bizarre. The stuff that Nintendo's releasing on the Switch now, I don't think, and there's other games with nudity on the Switch too, if I'm not mistaken. Like, and if not nudity, I mean, have you gone through into the Nintendo eShop lately, Dom?
I have not. I just booted my Switch up actually the other day, but I didn't really look through the eShop. I was just trying. I don't know. I couldn't get the audio to work, but yeah. Why is it like just filled with like those AI games? I'm guessing.
Oh, it's all kinds of waifu, squids, all kinds of stuff.
It's a shame.
We'll leave it at that. But I mean, The Witcher 3 had nudity on the Switch. It's
like you start wondering, like, how did, with the way Nintendo operates, how did Conker's Bad Fur Day ever come into existence? You know what I mean? Like,
what a gem! What a classic, it really was. Man! What a classic. Troy, have you been watching The Last of Us on HBO?
No, I have not.
Really? I thought you would have been all over that.
No, I haven't. I've got to get to Fallout Season 2. I haven't started watching that yet.
Well, originally the plan for Fallout, or not Fallout, God damn it, for The Last of Us was to be 4 total seasons, but now it's looking like it may only be 3. That's not for sure, because both the team behind the show, the showrunners, and the team at HBO kind of keep punting back and forth to each other when press asks this question. Like, HBO says, oh, that's up to the showrunners. The showrunners say, oh, well, that's up to the people that make the decisions on whether we have a show to run or not. And yeah, it's a little confusing right now. I think it's still 50-50, but a bunch of people ran with headlines this week that like, hey, it could only be 3 seasons instead of 4, even though the showrunners wanted it to be 4 from the onset. But I think it was like the most pointless headline to me this week in video game news, because it was just like, oh, so they don't know? It could be 3, it could be 4. Okay. Sure.
Well, I mean, so just for, I don't want to spoil anything, right? But like from my knowledge of the games, season 2 pretty much took the first half of part 2 of the game. So you would assume season 3 is the second half. So if there was a chapter 4, is that just going to be new original story? That's not part of the game. I know like Naughty Dog is working on a part 3 game, but that's like anywhere near release. They're in like very early stages of development. So maybe the reason why they're not answering is because they're trying to buy time for the game to come out. You know, like I don't know.
So I'm going to tell you this. If it makes money, there will be a 5th season and a 6th season, and they will just make shit up. Like, that's just the way it works.
Game of Thrones.
Well, yeah, it's
when you start outpacing the source material, you run into issues. That's all
matter.
I'm saying is maybe they're trying to avoid that.
Please, it's HBO. It's HBO. They didn't learn a lesson.
Yeah, they don't.
On that one.
They obviously don't care about.
No, they're just gonna buy as many seasons as keep making the money.
Who cares if it's creatively bankrupt?
This next one, I'm going to be honest, this lasted far longer than I thought it would. And when I tell you this, you might agree. Kenji Inafune, there's Kenji's studio, Inafune-san's studio, Concept, has shut down. And if you don't remember that was the studio founded in 2010. All three of us were still at Game Breaker or hadn't yet arrived at Game Breaker. I had not yet arrived. I'm 2 years away from that time, two and a half-ish. Founded in 2010, that is the studio behind such classics as Soul Sacrifice. And if you don't remember that game, you definitely remember Mighty Number 9. Speaking of kickstarted games, Troy. Founded in 2010, lasted 15 years. I was stunned that it wasn't already closed, actually.
Yeah, right. I would have thought Mighty Number 9 would have been the death of a company like that.
Nope. In news that surprises no one, though, Dom, Tim Sweeney over at Epic Games is absolutely in support of the $900 million lawsuit against Valve that we talked about on last week's show overseas.
You don't say.
Why? Couldn't have anything to do with competition, right?
Well, his thing is more. Well, I mean that too, of course, but that's the silent part. The loud part is the same reason he's been suing Google and Apple and everybody else under the sun everywhere he can for the last 10 years because he's the walled gardens and the fees. But yeah, competition. And both things can be true, right? Like, this is competitively good for him when things like this pan out in his favor. But he can also be a little altruistic and being like, I don't think companies should be able to do this and wall off their things. I'm not saying the one doesn't have a little more motivation than the other, but both things can be true. And yeah, Troy, he's in favor of the lawsuit.
And I'm trying to look it back up. Didn't I just see something about they're doing something with their store, something about ripping the guts out of it or something?
Oh yeah, I did see that too. Hold on. That they were making a ton of changes. I didn't look
deep into it yet. I had it like I've got it like in my bookmarks to like go back and read.
Yeah, they're testing out forums for certain games. Yeah, here it is on Polygon. We're ripping the guts out of the Epic Games launcher entirely, well, mostly entirely, and replacing it. This is coming from Vice President and General Manager Steve Allison. That work started in October. It's pretty far along now. The launcher experience might use a lot of system resources for some people. It may load on a delay that doesn't feel good, especially when you're a dual user that uses Steam or another store that you don't experience that on. We're well aware of that. So there's a bunch of performance issue changes. Like, yeah, they are doing a little bit of an overhaul to the store, which honestly, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Imagine if computer games do go cross-platform for retail fronts. Imagine all these games that you get for free on Epic that you can now play on Steam.
Hey, as if jobs weren't already at a premium in the video game industry, games stock in big companies took pretty big hits this past week due to Google unveiling its new AI model that actually renders 3D worlds. Project Genie is said to allow users to simulate a real-world environment through prompts with text or uploaded images, potentially disrupting how video games have been made for over a decade and forcing developers to adapt to the fast-moving technology. Google, in a blog post on the topic, said, unlike explorable experiences in static 3D snapshots, Genie 3 generates the path ahead in real time as you move and interact with the world. It simulates physics and interactions for dynamic worlds. Just to give you an idea of how hard that news and showing off of it hit the games world, Roblox lost 12%. Take-Two, Grand Theft team behind, the upper team behind Grand Theft Auto above Rockstar, fell 10%, and Unity fell a staggering 21%. Oof. Oof. Oh, God. Did you just add that, Dom?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
So I have not seen this yet. I'm not a huge Markiplier fan. I don't have anything against the guy. I don't. He's kind of like that. Him and Jacksepticeye and like that whole era of YouTube / streaming personalities. Those are personalities my kids grew up with more than I was watching. Right, like my teenage boys watch them. So I've seen many streams by both of them. They both seem like charming fellows. They both seem like very funny, and I'd love to go have a beer with. But I just like don't follow them.
Fortunately, Mark can't have any alcohol.
Right. I do know that I was watching eagerly when Markiplier started talking about funding his own movie and doing it, and God bless him, he went out and did it. Iron Lung hit theaters this past week, and Torchwick was right there.
Yeah.
My oldest son Michael bought him tickets for release day as part of his Christmas present. Drove up, brought him home from Rochester, took him Friday, came home. He's a huge Markiplier fan. He wore his Unus Annus hat that he got from that whole project and everything. And I said, look, me in horror movies, not generally a Markiplier guy. I'm proud of him for pulling off his dream. More power to him. Wish I could do exactly what he did. That'd be awesome to do. How was it? And he goes, I enjoyed it. He's not really a horror guy, Torchwick. He's not really into the horror movies. And he goes, he especially hates things underwater. So, this was, seeing Iron Lung was a bit, And and he said, it's a bit long. He's like, there's definitely scenes that don't need to be there. They could have just been cut or trimmed. He was like, I like the ending. He said, it just dragged in a few places, but other than that, thumbs up. And then so he liked it, and then I'm reading online reviews that said like the exact same thing over the course of the next week. Did you see it?
I did. So I didn't get tickets for Friday. I went and saw Saturday. And I will say, yes, it did. It was slow. It was a slow ramp up, but that is intentional. That's by design. The story takes place in a submarine under a river of blood, and the entire movie is shot in the submarine. And it kind of toys this. It's a psychological horror. It's not like a jump scare horror or anything like that. It's a psychological horror of like whether or not you're going to be able to escape out of this thing. So the dragging of scenes is intentional. It's to make you feel that boring dread. If the entire movie was action packed and upbeat and everything like that, you would never get to experience that hope and that climax, at the end of the movie. So all that is 100% intentional. I don't think it should have been changed, altered, or anything. I understand where people are coming from and saying, yes, it's long, slow, boring, whatever, but it's by design. With that being said, I think it was fantastic. I was a little confused as to what was going on. I did go in extremely tired because I didn't sleep the night before.
Did you play the game?
I have not played the game, and I had to look up what actually happened at the ending, because I will say the end is so quick. It is a blink and you miss it kind of ending. So I didn't quite know what happened. So once I looked it up, I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. I did buy the game. The game is on sale right now on Steam for like $4, and I will probably play it this weekend. But yeah, I just think this is a huge win for like independent films and stuff like that. Like Mark, like you said, he funded this himself. It was $3 million out of his own pocket. He wrote, directed, filmed, and starred in this movie. So that's just an incredible feat to begin with, and it just broke all kinds of records. It came in second place for the month, or for the weekend rather, for right behind Sam Raimi's film. What was it? Send Help.
Yes,
I think it was.
Which I want to say.
And yeah, so like with that, like that's insane. Like independent films are lucky to see like 50 theaters, right? This thing had 3,000 something theaters.
Well, okay, hold on, because it definitely helps when you got a bit of a following in the tune of millions. Come on.
I'm not saying that doesn't factor, but I'm just saying that like independently, this has still never been done before. This is a record. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you can't take that away just like because he's a YouTuber.
Just like you said about the movie, it's the same thing that I tell my wife. You got to get through the slow, boring parts if you want to reach the climax. Let's go do games of the week.
Oh my
Lord.
Of Gaming Gumbo. It's where all three of us are going to recommend a game to you. Could be a video game, board game, mobile game, something we played in the past or playing now or haven't played at all but think you should check out. And you let us know when you're chiming in the comments on ReadyCheckRadio.com or on YouTube who gave the best recommendation, and throw a recommendation to us. Troy, we're going to give to you first. What you got?
Pizza Possum.
I'm sorry, what?
Pizza Possum.
All right. Besides the alliteration, what do you got for us?
It is a fun little game I've been playing on my Steam Deck. It's got a little bit of roguelike elements. It's not like a real roguelike, but it's got some elements. You're essentially a possum in this cute little animated 3D world, and it's sort of top down. And you're running around and you're trying to eat food, and to eat food you get points, and you got to earn enough points to get the key to unlock the next zone. But you're avoiding like the guard dogs and trying to not get caught. And if you get caught, you got to go back and you got to start at the previous level that you just unlocked. It's a fun little, it's a cute little game, and it's a game that I've been having a lot of fun with on some of my downtime at work on my Steam Deck. So Pizza Possum is on Steam. It's $6.99. Pick it up. It's a nice little time waster.
I'm enjoying it. This is why I'm not going to win this week, and I don't care. That's fine. I'm actually really enjoying World of Warcraft's anniversary server right now. I don't know why. I feel like it's just I'm kind of done in Final Fantasy 14 right now. I was doing a ton of minion farming, and so I needed a bit of a break from that. I did the WoW Midnight pre-patch event, which, Dom, I know we didn't talk about it here, but it's fucking dumb.
It is.
It's really stupid. So I'm waiting for Midnight, which is a month from now, a little less because we'll have early access for Dom and I. But yeah, so I started rolling on an anniversary server because Havoc made me. And I've actually been really enjoying it. I am dying quite a lot more than I'm used to in MMOs these days because I'm forgetting how you had to be very, very careful and rest after killing 3 things that were level appropriate. And so, yeah, that's why I'm not rolling on hardcore until I get that muscle memory back on what is deadly and what isn't. Go ahead, Dom.
I'm just going to recommend Iron Lung. I'm going to check it out this weekend and see what it's all about. So.
That's going to do it for us here today on Gaming Gumbo. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, no Relic Grind this Thursday, but Tarkoth will be streaming Saturday night at midnight Eastern Time. I wish I could tell you where the Final Fantasy TCG Winter Cup stream will be. It's either going to be on on this Twitch channel here or on Four Horsemen Cards and Comics. I'm not sure. The owners of the store have not decided yet. So whenever I watch the socials, if it's on ours, I'll social it out. Until next time, Troy, where can everybody find your 3D printing ass?
TB3D Forge at Facebook.
Dumb.
I don't know. I might actually have a YouTube channel coming soon. So when I get that going, I'll promote that. But in the meantime, like maybe just think about, Dragon Eggs. Like if they're really as spiky and scaly as people claim they are?
If you get your layer height right, if you get your layer height right, yeah, they would be.
How painful are they to lay? You know?
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there, Magic Man 1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio, and you'll know every time we're going live with a podcast, video games, or Final Fantasy trading card game live. Until next time, stay safe. See you on the servers. I'm gonna lay you with a punch to the jaw.